Tonight, tensions flare. Race riots rage into their 9th day across America as protesters ignore the president's threat of military action. Police raise coronavirus fears as protesters plan a mass weekend rally here in support of demonstrations in the US. Tony Mockbell's jailhouse attackers learn their fate and cop a stern warning from a fired-up judge.
You'll end up drug-rattled, lonely old men.
And confirmation we're headed for recession. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg warns there are tough economic times ahead.
This is 10 News First Melbourne with Jennifer Keyte.
Good evening. First, tensions have again flared in Washington in the past few hours as the racial unrest across the United States enters its 9th day. It seems Donald Trump's threats of a military crackdown had little impact and may have actually encouraged more protesters. Eamon Ashton Atkinson is in the US Capitol. Eamon, what's happening there now?
Well, Jen, we've seen peaceful protests outside the White House all day, and just a short time ago we had some agitators come up to the fence over here and try and push it down. Of course, they were met by the military police on the other side, who sprayed them with pepper spray and released some flashbangs. But I think it's really indicative of the wider problem that's happening right across America at the moment. We're seeing thousands of legitimate protesters going out to the streets in the day, protesting against the systemic racism and the death of George Floyd. But their narrative is being hijacked by the rioters and the looters that are going out on the streets at night. And as police are trying to enforce law and order, and as the president threatens to unleash the force of the military onto the streets, the legitimate protesters see that as a threat against them.
The White House is now the flashpoint for black despair and desperation.
We're tired of being peaceful. We're tired of saying stop killing us.
As if threatening to flood these streets with troops isn't enough, President Trump has now erected an extra fence around the People's House, reinforced by heavily armed troops, a menacing symbol in a city where symbols mean everything.
Remember that. My life matters. It matters. Your life matters.
Former Marine Felder Evans is so disgusted he threw his dog tags.
If you wear that uniform, then you fight for everyone.
We're all American, so why do we get treated differently?
This is Lafayette Park on the north side of the White House. Statues of revolutionary heroes are in every corner. It's always been a place of protest, a powerful symbol of free speech and democracy. Tonight, it's cut off, and these people shut out.
This is the weakest point where the perimeter fence meets this. And here, they've got military police and US Park Police. Some of them I saw smirking, and that only made people even more angry. What would your message be to Trump if you could say something to him?
How are you going to make America great if you won't stand for what's right?
Across town, President Trump was visiting a shrine to a saint, Pope John Paul II. He appeared to ask his wife to smile for the cameras. She didn't.
The pain is raw. The pain is real. The President of the United States must be part of the solution, not the problem.
We stand ready, as previous administrations have done, to deploy active duty military personnel to quell the violence, to quell the looting.
These men of God felt compelled to come to the White House today after yesterday's bizarre presidential photo op across the road outside a church where he wasn't welcome.
When I saw him desecrate the church that he doesn't go to, holding a Bible that he doesn't read, I could not stand by as a Christian and not say something and come down and protest against what he did to defile the church of God.
The president held up the Bible at St. John's Church yesterday. I just wish he opened it once in a while.
There is no greater symbol in this country than this. Today, under the flag, they are begging not to be killed.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot!
And in all this madness, a rare moment of hope. A lone policeman breaks ranks, moves forward and lowers himself onto one knee, a powerful symbol in a city and country that promises liberty and justice for all. Eamon Ashton Atkinson for 10 News First, Washington.
The actions of one policeman have now put officers across the United States in harm's way. They've been targeted in New York and St Louis. And now George Floyd's former partner has made a plea for justice from the steps of Minneapolis City Hall, the town central to one of the darkest weeks in American history.
Gas here, flashbangs. Flashbangs here in the street, police behind us, police on all sides.
The world's most powerful nation turning the weapons on itself.
This is a police riot. That is what we are seeing.
Protesters and police clashing in Portland and Atlanta.
Protester just sent a tear gas canister back towards police.
In New York, the 8 p.m. curfew set off this. But tonight there was a moment of calm in a country on a knife edge. Thousands defied the curfew to march across Manhattan Bridge after a brief standoff.
Peaceful protest! Peaceful protest!
Police let them through. Last night was a very different story. 700 people were arrested and there was widespread looting. In the Bronx, a police officer was beaten. And another is lucky to be alive after being deliberately mowed down by a car. And they weren't alone. In St Louis, 4 police officers involved in the protests were shot, their police chief at breaking point.
And now we have 4 in the hospital, but thankfully, and thank God, they're alive. They're alive. But can we make some sense out of this? Can we make some sense out of this? That's all I'm trying to say.
And while there were flashpoints, there's hope. Sense is now starting to prevail.
Trust me, we all hurting. Trust me. Look at my eyes. We are all hurting.
Today was marked by more moments of solidarity than hate. Healthcare workers in a fight of their own joined the protesters in New York, and in Portland, a dramatic statement without violence. Thousands lay down on the city's main bridge to symbolise George Floyd's final minutes. And perhaps the tipping point came not from presidential threats, but for this little girl, 6-year-old Gianna Floyd, George's daughter, who fronted the cameras with her mother.
At the end of the day, they get to go home and be with their families. Gianna does not have a father. He would never see her grow up, graduate. He would never walk her down the aisle.
A family who wants justice and real change for the man they loved.
Right, that change the world.
Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
And there are fears a protest here in Melbourne could lead to a spike in the number of coronavirus cases. Demonstrators are planning to gather outside State Parliament on Saturday. Jade Keyte joins us live from Spring Street. Jade, they're expecting a big crowd.
Jen, good evening to you. That's right. The Black Lives Matter protest is expected to draw in thousands of supporters. The demonstration will be held here on Parliament House steps on Saturday between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. and will be hosted by the Warriors of the Aboriginal Resistance. There was a similar rally in Sydney only last night, and their message was clear. It was powerful. Stop black deaths in custody. A show of support for George Floyd's family in Minneapolis, but also a show of support for Indigenous victims right here on Australian soil. Checking on Facebook, so far there's been 15,000 people respond as attending this rally, the largest mass gathering in Victoria since the start of the coronavirus restrictions back in March. Now, Victoria Police says it has spoken to organisers and will be here in the vicinity and have a high presence on Saturday to ensure the protest remains peaceful and people stay safe. But they do hold concerns that anti-racist protesters or groups may come in and cause trouble, potentially violence. Their biggest fear, however, is the potential for a coronavirus outbreak.
It would be terrible to think that as a result of a large gathering, the most vulnerable people in our community, particularly the elderly and people who have particular health risks, might, as a result of that gathering, be exposed to the virus.
Demonstrators being asked to maintain their distance from each other, but police stopped short of saying whether they would or wouldn't start fining people if they broke those health and coronavirus laws. Protesters do have the right to protest peacefully. Authorities just want them to do it safely.
OK, thank you very much, Jade. A judge has sounded off at two young men who almost killed drug kingpin Tony Mockbell inside Barwon Prison, warning them about the dangers of a life of crime. The pair will each serve an extra 5 years jail after pleading guilty to the frenzied stabbing.
Going off script, experienced Judge Liz Gaynor told the men there's no glory in being a jailhouse hero.
You two young blokes, 2-on-1, mauled and maimed a 53-year-old man.
Tira Bennett and Aldea Tierra had earlier laughed as the judge described the frenzied attack on Tony Mockbell last year. It was prompted by a newspaper article, an attempt to assert the dominance of their prison gang known as GFAM.
Let me tell you, gentlemen, in a few years, GFAM and the bros are not going to do it for you.
As the drug baron walked through the exercise yard, he was knocked unconscious. He was then kicked and stabbed with shivs made from sharpened wire and a fork. Mockbell underwent emergency brain surgery and has now recovered from his injuries. Judge Gaynor warned his attackers a life of crime and drugs is tragic.
You'll have a few relationships. You'll have a relationship here, a relationship there. You'll have 6 kids by 6 different mothers. And if you're still using, you'll probably assault them. You will end up drug-rattled, lonely old men.
Their sentences add another 5 years to the terms they're serving for armed robbery and a raft of other offences. Tira Bennett will be deported to New Zealand when he's released, despite having no connections there. He moved to Australia with his family at age 11 and completed his schooling here, including Year 12. He then got a job but turned to crime after being introduced to ice, and he became an addict within weeks. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has called such deportation cases corrosive to the trans-Tasman relationship. Emma O'Sullivan for 10 News First.
Australia will slip into recession. That's the grim prediction of the Treasurer after the summer bushfires delivered a quarter of negative economic growth. And it's considered inevitable the pandemic will deliver another hit to the economy before the end of winter.
Paul Keyte gave us
the recession that Australia had to have.
This is the one we couldn't avoid.
This was the economists' version of Armageddon. The impact on the economy has been very severe.
GDP falling by 0.3% in the first quarter of the year, off the back of catastrophic bushfires and the early stages of the coronavirus.
We were on track to deliver a surplus even after the bushfires.
We are 2/3 of the way into the second quarter's results for the months of April, May and June, which will be even worse than today's numbers.
The answer to that is yes, and that is on the basis of the advice that I have from the Treasury Department about where the June quarter is expected to be.
Confirming that Australia is in recession for the first time since 1991.
Hundreds of thousands of jobs have already been sacrificed to the first recession in 29 years.
The task now to avoid a recession turning into a depression.
There will be some difficult days ahead.
Today's numbers also suggest the promised budget surplus for the 2019-20 financial year was already in doubt, even before the pandemic struck.
While the pandemic came without warning, long-standing weakness in the economy did not.
The government had hoped to be handing down the first surplus in 12 years. Instead, we're in recession for the first time in 29 years. Their hope to get out of it is industrial relations reform, with the Minister meeting with union officials here in Sydney today. The aim is to find a way to build consensus towards workplace rights and conditions conducive to an economic recovery.
But I would say it was a very positive and optimistic start.
Peter Van Onselen for 10 News First.
A Port Melbourne factory has been forced to shut down after a worker tested positive for COVID-19. Natasha Exelby joins us live from Amcor Packaging. Tash, what further action has the company taken?
Good evening, Jen. Well, the man tested positive on Sunday, so Amcor closed the factory immediately. He was in close proximity to 8 other workers, so they are undergoing 14 days of mandatory quarantine. All of the workers have been tested for COVID-19. There are some who are still awaiting their results, but everyone who has returned a negative result was able to return to work just hours ago. The state government has praised Amcor, saying they have handled the situation perfectly.
This is a demonstration of the system working well, having a business working very closely with a public health team, making sure that their workers can be tested.
Jen, in the last 24 hours, we've had 7 new cases of COVID-19. 6 of those are travellers returning from overseas, and the 7th is being investigated. There are now 79 active cases of COVID-19 in Victoria. And while our health system is faring well, our economy is not. Corona claimed yet another scalp today, with both the Northern and Eastern Football Leagues saying that they have to scrap the 2020 season altogether. They've crunched the numbers, they can't afford it. Yet another casualty of COVID-19.
OK, thank you very much, Natasha. Well, now here's Stephen, and there's drama over at Fremantle.
Yeah, sure was, Jen. One of their players collapsed at training today and was rushed to hospital. We'll have the latest in sport. Also, the Hawks skipper predicting a helter-skelter season. 2 Lions legends celebrate their Hall of Fame honours. And is the Hail Mary on Harley about to pay handsome dividends?
Thanks, Stephen. Coming up in 10 News First. Claims of JobKeeper rorting, with workers accusing employers of ripping them off. And going high-tech to keep coronavirus patients out of hospital.
It's Mystery Box Bingo.
What? Worst ingredients I could think of. It smells a little bit like garbage.
Seriously good.
This was a joy to eat.
MasterChef's Mystery Box Bingo, 7:30 tonight.
So I'm going to have one side of my face have laser skin resurfacing and the other side L'Oreal Revitalift laser cream, and we'll see if the results compare. I actually feel my skin looks much, much better than it did 4 weeks ago on both sides. You can get similar results without the pain.
Revitalift Laser from L'Oreal Paris.
Welcome to Sushi Sushi. We can't wait till you see what we've done here. Like these fresh new menu items for starters, all made with the quality and freshness that we're famous for. Come on in to Sushi Sushi.
Miss you. Come for dinner. We're getting Hungry Jack's delivered.
Feed the family. Get Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Whoppers delivered now on Uber Eats or Menulog. Hungry Jack's Delivery. The burgers are better.
Harvey Norman has everything you need for your home, including the very best of Australian-made bedding. Make your statement with gorgeous Australian-made timber and fabric beds and customise the fabric, colour and timber stain to suit your style. Our huge range features the best names in Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. Sealy, Sleepmaker, Beautyrest, King Coil and Body Balance. Complete your sleep experience with beautiful Australian-made Manchester. All this, plus 60 months interest-free. Shop in our spacious stores, support local manufacturers and choose Australian-made. Now at Harvey Norman.
This is 10 News First. JobKeeper was set up as an income safety net for Aussies during the pandemic. But mistakes and even rorting mean many eligible workers have missed out. Today we spoke to some left struggling in the confusion.
They're 4 young bartenders who claim they were left out in the cold by their boss when the pandemic hit.
No income, no job,
This was at a time when the lockdown was at its highest level.
They'd all worked at the Balmain Hotel for over a year and were relieved when JobKeeper was announced.
We were all eligible, we met all the criteria, we signed the papers.
They even received their first fortnightly allowance. JobKeeper is written on their pay slips, but the next week the payment was reduced and then disappeared altogether, so they contacted their boss.
He said to me, we're taking off the JobKeeper, that's it, we're ending the payments.
I'm shocked that they could do that. It doesn't seem like that should be allowed at all under the JobKeeper scheme.
It's been really stressful because this situation's already stressful enough.
While the Balmain Hotel is back showing the love to customers, when we contacted them for comment, their response was, "No comment, sweetie."
You cannot be pulled off JobKeeper if your workplace is currently still registered with the JobKeeper program.
The United Workers Union says employees have been shortchanged in the confusion. They surveyed 550 hospitality workers. Of those eligible for JobKeeper, 70% had major roster and duty changes. 12% said their employer refused to apply on their behalf, and 15% were asked to sign documents entitling their boss to some of the money. The Australian Tax Office warns those caught rorting the system will need to repay the monies and be subject to penalties, including up to 10 years jail. While the ATO cannot discuss individual cases, these four have called its tip-off hotline.
It's been tough, you know. I've been trying to look for jobs ever since, really. I'm doing a master's degree, so I've got no income from anything, really.
Ali Donaldson for 10 News First.
An alleged car thief has rammed police, damaging a number of patrol cars before he was finally stopped along the Western Ring Road last night. Authorities were called when motorists saw a Nissan Navara driving along the Eastern Freeway with a blown tyre, sending out a shower of sparks. When officers intercepted the stolen ute, the driver allegedly refused to pull over. It wasn't until they reached the Ring Road that police finally managed to stop him. The driver and a passenger were arrested and have been charged. Police are hunting a woman who stole handbags worth $11,000 from a South Bank store. Investigators have been told the woman asked to try the 2 Louis Vuitton bags, then asked to try on some shoes. But while the attendant went into the storeroom to fetch the shoes, the woman fled with the designer accessories. She's described as Asian and in her late 20s or early 30s. Let's take a look at the traffic now. Jess Miller has a great view from the chopper.
Thank you so much, Jen. Over Brunswick in the Aussie Home Loans traffic chopper, there was an oil spill on Hope Street which had it closed off. Looks like that's been sorted now, but we did spot these works on Sydney Road southbound near Blythe Street. Contraflow is in place causing minor delays, and on the subject of works, there are still some underway in the city. Collins Street between Queen Street and Elizabeth Street. That, of course, is for those that sinkhole that happened yesterday. Jen?
Thank you, Jess. COVID-19 patients who don't need hospital care can now be monitored at home. Thanks to new technology, a Melbourne hospital is using an app to log their vital details, which keeps beds free for more critical patients.
David Curtin was suffering from a splitting headache. Eventually, a doctor decided to test him for COVID-19 and he was positive.
Look, I was shocked, but then again when I thought about it, I thought, well, I've had these symptoms, so it's probably not surprising.
But the 64-year-old didn't need to be hospitalised. Instead, the Royal Melbourne Hospital sent him home with a small device and a smartphone app. The device monitors a patient's oxygen levels and heart rate.
The patients receive an SMS from our hospital twice a day that asks them to log in and check in with us.
He says only the most severe coronavirus patients need to be in hospital.
About 20% of patients then go on to deteriorate in their second week of illness and they require hospital care.
The system not only frees up hospital beds but keeps patients comfortable.
Well, you've got your own surroundings, and I have my wife to look after me at the same time.
The technology was originally created in anticipation that the hospital would receive an influx of COVID-19 patients. Thankfully, that never happened, but now the monitoring system exists for future health problems. It's now being shared across Australia and the world.
There's a limited amount of resources that we have, so we only want patients who we have something to offer them sitting inside the beds within our hospital.
David has been symptom-free for a month and he's fighting fit.
Very lucky, yes.
Candice Wyatt for 10 News First.
And ahead in 10 News First, universities on the brink, revealing just how many billions they expect to lose in revenue. Anger on the streets of France as people follow the lead of the US and march against racism.
And as it gets colder and pubs around Melbourne start opening, it's time to check out fabulous fireplaces. And tonight, I'm in Richmond.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
It's Gogglebox, like you've never seen before.
Kim Jong-un has resurfaced.
I'm really happy now. It's really made my
day. And this time, it's celebrities on the couch.
Ruining my sex drive for the next 50 years. Good.
It's the new series coming to Thursdays.
Oh, that's James Brown.
My James Brown is dead.
Oh.
So what will the famous and their families say about what's on the box?
Take it up! Take it up!
Who the is that?
New Celebrity Gogglebox USA is coming to Thursdays on 10.
Introducing BP Rewards. Now you can earn points for every BP purchase.
BP Rewards.
Use BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards. BP Rewards.
Or you can choose to earn Qantas points.
Now that's what I call BP Rewards.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. BP Rewards. Your rewards, your way.
At Chemist Warehouse, we are always here for you. Check out our amazing June catalogue sale on now. Get Maxigesic 12 tablets for $4.99 or Thompson's 1-a-day grapeseed 120 tablets $23.99. Try Microgenics Vitamin D3 1000 IU 200 capsules $16.99. And Wagner High Strength Garlic 100 capsules $12.99. Shop in-store, online or call your local store to arrange contact-free delivery. Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day.
Krispy Kreme Snickers. Oh, sorry, hang on a sec. 1.5 metres. Social distancing. But I don't make the rules.
Krispy Kreme Snickers. New at 7-Eleven.
From home time to sleepy time, IKEA designs around life's precious moments. So make mess, mohawks, and laugh until your belly hurts. Because with IKEA, there really is no place like home.
Oh. Hi. Hi, Mum, it's me. I'm just checking in.
Oh, hi, darling. Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's a video call, so move the phone away from your ear.
No, wait on.
Can't see you. Oh, yeah, there you are. Hi. So good to see your face, Mum.
You too, dear.
You don't need Australia's best network until you do.
The world could do with some good, but why throw eggs when you can scramble them? With a hot pan and a little Lurpak, a cook can tame the wild, feed the hungry, and nourish the weak. So choose your weapon, embrace the unwanted, and transform nothing into everything. The world needs more cooks, because where there are cooks, there is hope. Yum.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
Worst ingredients I could think of.
This was a joy to eat.
Mystery Box Bingo tonight.
Welcome back. La Trobe University staff have been asked to take pay cuts in a bid to save it from the financial crisis created by coronavirus. It's the same story around the country, with international student numbers plummeting. Universities are staring at a $16 billion black hole.
High-paying international students keep our universities in business, and their sudden absence during the pandemic is disastrous.
We're all facing a revenue downturn because of the loss of international student numbers.
La Trobe University is among those to admit it's in big trouble. Staff have been asked to take a 10% pay cut to save the university $48 million over 2 years. The Vice-Chancellor will sacrifice 20% of his salary, which the union says was up to $980,000 last year. A move welcomed by La Trobe lecturer Dr Dennis Wallersheim, who will vote in support of salary reductions.
Even if all the senior management, cut their pay in half, that would be a drop in the bucket.
La Trobe University would usually make $900 million a year, predominantly from student fees. The Vice-Chancellor says even with the proposed changes, it will lose up to $150 million. Nationwide, coronavirus is set to cost Australian universities between $3.1 billion and $4.8 billion this year, with losses of up to $16 billion by 2023. The Victorian Premier says any calls for help must be answered by Canberra.
Yeah, I am concerned. La Trobe University employs many thousands of people.
The federal government has previously pledged $18 billion to support the sector, but it appears that may not be enough. Simon Love for 10 News First.
A new investigation has revealed China significantly delayed releasing key information to the World Health Organization to help fight coronavirus. The Associated Press has reported China refused to release the genetic map of the virus for more than a week after 3 different government labs had decoded it. That information is key to developing a treatment or even a vaccine for the virus. Throughout January, the WHO publicly praised China for what it called a speedy response to the outbreak. Well, mirroring the demonstrations in the US, French protesters have marched against racist violence, remembering a black man killed by officers in 2016. Protesters threw rocks and stones at riot police who fired tear gas back, trying to stop the group marching up the road in northern Paris. Police had earlier banned the march on safety grounds. Well, now here's Mike, and he's found a spot that's cosy and warm.
Yes, thank you, Jen, and a very good evening. It's a chilly 14 degrees outside, but comfortably warm inside as we begin our search of fabulous fireplaces around Melbourne for 2020. And tonight in Richmond, it's the Kingston, a lot of character. In fact, there's the owner. John, come over here.
Evening, Mike.
Now, it is an old pub with lots of features. How old is the pub?
About 170 years old.
170 years old, and you've owned it since day one?
About 20 years.
And you've got a photo there to share with us.
We do.
Now, that dates back to when?
We think about the 1920s.
Wow, it's the good old days, and after, 2.5 months closed, the good old days are back.
Let's hope so. We're very excited. So we've got 2 sittings tonight, and they're both booked out.
Fantastic. Pubs around Melbourne and Victoria, nearly all are open. Fantastic, John. Have a great night tonight. Hey, if you think it was cold outside today, this is nothing. Our midweek weather fact: the lowest temperature ever recorded anywhere in the world was at Vostok Station in Antarctica. It was July 21, 1983, when the mercury plummeted to a bitter minus 89.6. Suddenly it's not so cold here in Melbourne. And tomorrow, 13 degrees above average in Melbourne. The weather details in full from the Kingston and our fabulous fireplace shortly. Jen.
Thank you, Mike. Still to come, we'll have more on how the market reacted to the Treasurer's dire warning on our economy, and an inquest into a balcony tragedy that left 2 mothers dead gets underway.
It's Mystery Box Bingo.
What? Worst ingredients I could think of. It smells a little bit like garbage.
Seriously good.
This was a joy to eat.
MasterChef's Mystery Box Bingo, 7:30 tonight.
We are regional Australia.
We are winemakers.
We are coffee roasters.
Fashion designers.
Potters.
Bakers.
Shopkeepers.
We're asking for your support because the wine is pouring.
The kiln is firing.
And we're open for business.
Because where you shop matters.
Discover how Visa's network connects regional businesses to customers across Australia and the world.
Pocket watch. Nobody's got time for that.
This Saturday with Sportsbet at 3 tracks for all races. Finish second or third and get up to $50 back in bonus bets. That's 27 races with Sportsbet.
Meet the revolutionary Sleeping Duck mattress taking Australia by storm. It's the next generation mattress reimagined by aerospace engineers, making history. Choices best overall mattress 2 years in a row. That's Sleeping Duck. One giant leap for your sleep.
You've dreamed of places to go. You promised one day. Now, one day is here. New adventures. Wide open spaces. So, you can't travel the world right now. So what? New South Wales is here for you. Let's all reboot 2020. One unforgettable experience at a time. Now's the time to love New South Wales.
With health insurance from Australian Unity, you're in good hands. Get 6 weeks free and pick cover that suits you. Join hospital and extras by June 30. Search Australian Unity today.
Head to Macca's if a little treat is what you need and grab 24 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 or a large sundae for only $3. For your Macca's run, contact free, we'll be here.
Delivery unlimited? Delivery unlimited?
Get your Woolies worth with Woolworths Delivery Unlimited. Start your 30-day free trial today.
That's another reason to pick Woolies.
Even at the best of times, finding a good job can be hard. And the same goes for finding and keeping good employees. That's why JobKeeper is here, to help Australian businesses keep their current staff and to help employees keep their current jobs, which goes a long way to keeping your business going, even if you're self-employed. So that when you're ready to start up again or get back to work, we can all get back to business sooner. To find out more, visit jobkeeper.gov.au, authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
If you've been injured at work, on the road or in a public place, your normal life can suddenly stop, including your income. With Slater & Gordon, you can check if you have a claim for compensation online in minutes. We'll manage your claim so you can focus on what's really important, getting your future started again. With Slater & Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
Hello there. Confirmation from the Treasurer today. Australia is in recession and it took a health emergency to break our run of economic growth. But the 0.3% contraction was within expectations, so the market rose, adding $27 billion worth of value to hit 12-week highs. Looking deeper into the Bureau of Statistics GDP figures, household spending on services was significantly impacted by COVID-19 social distancing measures and travel restrictions. That drop is unprecedented. The fall in household consumption was so dramatic over March, it ripped 0.6% from the economy's final growth figure and is the first decline in almost 12 years. And so with no one spending, household saving is now at its highest rate since September 2016. Now, CommSec has delivered a bit of perspective. Our economy only shrank by 0.3% despite bushfires, drought, flooding, cyclones and a pandemic. America's slide has been far worse, so has the UK's and Germany's, while China has fallen a whopping 33.8%. But Australia's next quarter will be much worse, and economists are predicting more government rescue spending. Now, it was the financial, property and energy sectors driving up the market today, while the dollar hit fresh 6-month highs and is now buying around 69.4 US cents. And that's finance.
Gillian Bowen reporting. Well, a structural beam that was way past its use-by date has been blamed for a balcony collapse that killed 2 mothers. A coroner's heard details of how 20 people were sent crashing onto concrete as they celebrated a Christmas party at Doncaster East.
Just days before Christmas 2017, celebrations turned to tragedy as Tupperware staff gathered on a Doncaster East balcony for a group photo. The deck beneath their feet collapsed at the rental property. 20 people fell, including Cheryl Taylor and Sarah Kajoba, who tumbled 2.7 metres. They suffered critical injuries and died. A building surveyor who examined the scene gave evidence at the start of a coronial inquest. The decking had completely fallen away from the building. The court heard an integral structural beam was dry, brittle and weak. With a load of the large group plus a fridge, barbecue, oven and eskies, it failed. The beam should have been replaced when the deck required maintenance. It was well past its use-by date. The court heard it would be beneficial for councils around Australia to remind residents to get their decks regularly inspected. For example, there could be a message on a rates notice alerting the residents to the potential dangers. The inquest has been set down for 3 days. Christina Costalis for 10 News First.
Gold Coast police are hunting 2 arsonists after luxury boats were destroyed in a huge blaze. Firefighters arrived at the Hope Island Marina to find 3 vessels well alight. While they fought to contain the flames, the harbour master towed neighbouring boats to safety.
We believe it's in excess of $1 million in terms of the vessels and some damage to the marina.
Detectives believe 2 men jumped a fence before a firebomb was thrown onto one of the boats. Divers were called in this afternoon to ensure no one was trapped on board the sunken vessel. Well, now here's Stephen with Wednesday Sport, and is the Demons' big gamble about to pay off?
Well, Jen, Harley Bennell continues to fly at training and has now a real chance to play next week. The Hawks back Chad in his media ban. A brutal training session at the Power claims 3 victims. And she's only 11 and recovering from a horrific accident, but this Olympic hopeful isn't about to give up on her dream.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
Courtney Act is bringing some neighbourly love tonight, 6:30.
It's Gogglebox, like you've never seen before.
Who the is that?
And this time, it's celebrities on the couch.
Oh, that's James Brown.
My James Brown is dead.
Oh.
New Celebrity Gogglebox USA is coming to Thursdays.
Bunnings has a great range of home security products.
Video doorbell, only $329. Security camera, just $69.
Where you find a competitor's lower price on the same stocked item will beat it by 10%. Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
With Allianz Comprehensive Car Insurance, we guarantee all the repairs we authorise.
Hey, good to go.
Looks great. Thanks.
Get that Allianz feeling. Call or search for a quote today.
Stick boredom on the bench. Footy's back. For every Thursday and Friday NRL game this round, place a head-to-head bet, and if your team wins by 6 or more, we'll double your winnings in bonus bets up to $50. Tab, long may we play.
There you go, Swagger.
Steve?
Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new tastier New Yorker range. Now with even more authentic ingredients, like huge pepperoni on a giant-sized New York pizza. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
A quick lunch is great, but with love, I'm looking for long term.
That's why I trust eHarmony.
No one can connect you with high-quality singles like eHarmony. That's why every 14 minutes, someone finds love on eHarmony. Start free today.
Hello, Victoria.
While some restrictions have eased, limiting our movement every day
means we slow the spread of the virus.
We all have a part to play.
It's up to all of us to make this work.
Visit vic.gov.au/coronavirus. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
Shaver Shop's end of financial year sale. Save up to 80%. Waterpik water flosser now $69.95. Save 55% on Davidoff Cool Water for men and Mac 3 blades now $15.95. Save up to 80% at Shaver Shop. Sale on now.
The stylish Haval H2, a globally engineered, European-designed and feature-packed SUV. From just $22,990 drive away. Haval H2 Auto. New car thinking.
Thanks for calling ING. This is Adam speaking. How can I help you? No, I'm currently working from home.
Oh, you can call anytime, so...
Sorry. And she's currently nibbling at my toe right now.
Yeah, working from home was a bit tricky at first, but...
There's definitely been some stray farts, hasn't there, mate?
And now your loan's on a fixed rate. Can I help you with anything else?
No, you made my day.
Well, whatever 2020 throws at you, we're here for a chat anytime.
Too easy.
Worst ingredients I could think of. This was a joy to eat.
Mystery Box Bingo tonight.
Good evening. There were frightening scenes at Fremantle training today with wingman Cam McCarthy rushed to hospital. McCarthy was taking part in small group training when he suddenly collapsed to the ground. The club immediately called an ambulance which took McCarthy for tests and assessment. It's not yet known what caused the Dockers medical incident.
Our doctor's recommendation that he goes to hospital and get checked out. We got the ambulance on the scene and he walked there, got in there, and he's at the hospital now. My understanding is that this is the first time something like this has happened to Cam. As we know, these things, there can be a lot of things that lead to this, so he's in the hospital now, he'll get checked over and we'll hear more shortly.
The club is unsure if the incident will prevent McCarthy from travelling to the Gold Coast hub next week. Hawthorn has thrown its support behind Chad Wingard's media ban. Captain Ben Stratton says it takes courage to be outspoken in these socially media-driven times.
With the AFL's newest legend keeping a close eye on the Hawks, the club is backing Chad Wingard's media ban.
Regardless of the issue, it probably takes some balls to speak up and stuff like that. So probably in a world where everything gets judged and speech gets judged, I reckon, yeah, it takes some balls and good on him. We're behind him 100%.
Hawthorn today trained in their separate groups and are preparing for a helter-skelter return caused by the shorter matches and season.
Shorter quarters, there'll be faster games, more hits and, I don't know, a lot more close games. So those close games, if you can win more than you lose, you'll be better off.
Jager O'Meara won't do much on the training track this week, but next week he's expected to hit the ground running in a bid to convince club medicos he'll be right to play against the Cats.
It is touch and go for round one. We'll make a decision on that next week, I think. Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, but he'll probably push to play, but it's probably up to the doctors in the end.
Mitch Duncan has had 8 weeks to get his body right and has been tipped by midfield coach Matthew Knights to make a big impact.
Yeah, he's spruiking me. I don't know what he's doing. I better get a kick now, but I suppose having that 8 weeks, you manage to get a bit more fitness in the legs.
Not many of the Hawks have played at Geelong, but Duncan believes they'll relish the change.
You know, they're obviously a well-drilled side. I think the ground will probably suit them. Yeah, I don't think we'll change too much what we're going to do anyway. We're lucky we play the ground quite well here.
Rob Waters for 10 News First.
Well, Melbourne's Harley Bennell experiment is starting to look like it could pay dividends. The injury-prone speedster trained a house down again today and made it through unscathed, but a couple of teammates required ice packs.
What was looking like a Hail Mary is quickly becoming a comeback story. Harley Bennell impressing again, displaying the speed and skill that convinced the Demons to take a brave punt.
He's not just great with the ball in hand, he creates a really good vibe around the footy club. So it's super exciting to have him back out there because, I mean, as everyone sees, he's a super player.
With just 2 full contact sessions remaining until the D's meet the Blues, the 27-year-old one-time number 2 draft pick could be on track for an unlikely early season return.
I think he's sitting outside Goody's door every day, sort of just letting him know that he's right to play. So it's good. We're confident in him, and it's, as I said, really good to have him here.
Tomlinson also impressed with his running power on a wing, while there were some casualties. Marty Hall limping off with a sore big toe, while Stephen May required some maintenance on his lower back, as the D's look to bounce back from a poor round one showing in the West.
It was a really good game for us to learn from and come up against one of the best defences in the competition. So, yeah, we've learnt from it and we've been training it ever since.
Over the border, they were dropping like flies at Alberton. Brad Ebert copping a blow to the head before returning. Riley Bonner limping off after rolling an ankle, while Jack Watts felt the pain and then pleasure of having a dislocated finger pop back in.
It's going to feel quite different, no doubt, but and guys are going to be really excited. So, and they probably haven't got the yards under their belt, so it might be a bit scratchy.
All three are expected to train fully again on Saturday ahead of the round 2 showdown. Nick Butler for 10 News First.
Lions premiership star Jonathan Brown admits he was caught completely off guard by his call-up into the AFL's Hall of Fame. While for Simon Black, it's an honour a year in the making. As humble as ever, he's the last of Brisbane's Fab Four to be inducted.
Simon Black's AFL Hall of Fame induction was supposed to be in 2019, but at the time, he was a little busy.
I think some of the younger generation coming through might know me for Survivor last year.
Impossible after one of the game's most distinguished careers. Last night, he would get his moment.
So belatedly, Simon Black, welcome to the Australian Football Hall of Fame.
A Brownlow, a Norm Smith, 3 premierships, 3 All-Australians and a 3-time best and fairest. A year on, there's still few more deserving.
I just feel very fortunate to have been part of such a great football team at that time.
A team that also boasted imposing forward Jonathan Brown, deservedly honoured alongside his old mate.
It's an overwhelming feeling, and I must admit I thought I was in trouble when the chairman Richard Goyder rang me a few weeks ago. Thinking, what have I said on air to upset the AFL?
While he's remembered by many for moments like this, there was more to him than just feats of courage.
He was an incredibly skillful player, and the conviction he played the game with, not many have played the game with more conviction, and you walk tall around Brownie.
That's now 5 Brisbane Lions Hall of Famers, joining Jason Ackermanis, Nigel Lappin and their premiership captain, Michael Voss.
They were just absolutely fierce competitors, and they just wanted to get better every single day. They had an amazing work ethic.
So here's cheers to 2 of the greats. Josh McLean for 10 News First.
Mitch Marsh says avoiding the hard work of pre-season training is a thing of the past as he strives to be part of all forms of international cricket. Fresh from receiving a new Cricket Australia contract, the WA all-rounder says working with the state squad has been a fresh change. And it's so far so good as he awaits a new look cricket calendar.
It's incredible times really, isn't it? To not really know when we're going to be playing cricket again can be quite difficult, but I think for me, and I hate cliches, but it really is just, you just take it one week at a time and one session at a time and making sure that I am ready to go and everyone else is ready to go for when cricket starts, and yeah, hopefully it's soon.
Marsh is eyeing a test recall, last wearing the baggy green in the 5th Ashes test almost 9 months ago. Formula One is confident a positive COVID-19 test won't derail its plans to relaunch the season. It has unveiled the first 8 rounds of the new calendar, starting with consecutive races in Austria from July 5.
Rigorous set of guidelines. I don't know, probably at this point it's probably 80 to 90 pages. We will test before you go there. I think at this point testing every 2 days. If we find, a positive infection, to deal with that.
What a mo. Silverstone will also host 2 Grands Prix, while Spain, Belgium and Monza in Italy have one each. The remaining schedule will be released later this month. 11-year-old Olympic hopeful Sky Brown has released footage of her horrific training accident in a bid to inspire others with a message of resilience.
It's okay to fall sometimes, and I'm just gonna get back up and push even harder. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, but I want everyone to know that whatever we do, we're just gonna do it with love and happiness.
What an amazing girl. Brown needed to be airlifted to hospital after fracturing her skull, breaking her arm and suffering lacerations to her heart and lungs from the fall. She's still hoping to be Britain's youngest summer Olympian at the Tokyo Games next year. The new baseball stadium in Texas is yet to host a game because of COVID-19, but that hasn't stopped one eager graduate from christening home plate. Not sure how the dirt would have looked in the grad photo, but for sneaking through uni until the very end, this student can graduate with distinction. And our play of the day. What about that 11-year-old girl, Jen? Amazing.
She's extraordinary, totally beautiful. Thanks, Stephen. Coming up, Mike's back with the weather and he's found the ideal place to escape from the chill.
Will Aussie charities become casualties of COVID-19?
It's Mystery Box Bingo.
What? Worst ingredients I could think of.
It smells a little bit like garbage.
Seriously good. This was a joy to eat.
MasterChef's Mystery Box Bingo, 7:30 tonight.
Make your home beautiful with furniture from Harvey Norman. We have a huge range of quality choices and exclusive designs. Fabric and leather lounges, flexible family-friendly modulars, manual or powered recliners, sofas with the latest smart tech built in, dining suites to complement a classic or bold contemporary look, plus the very best of Australian-made lounge and dining furniture, customizable to suit your style. Shop smart, shop safe in our spacious stores and take advantage of 60 months interest-free. Available now at Harvey Norman, your furniture specialist.
Oh. Hi. Hi, Mum, it's me. I'm just checking in.
Oh, hi, darling. Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's a video call, so move the phone away from your ear.
No, away on. Can't see you. Oh, yeah, there you are. Hi.
So good to see your face, Mum.
You too, dear.
You don't need Australia's best network until you do.
My barber was fussing with my hair, trying to hide the thinning bits, and he says to me, maybe we should shave it all off. That was my turning point.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley and Martin could help regrow your hair.
Go on.
At Devondale, we believe great milk comes from cows that graze free.
Save up to 10% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz home insurance policy online.
Okay, done.
Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
Slugger.
Steve? Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new tastier New Yorker range. Now with even more authentic ingredients, like huge pepperoni on a giant-sized New York pizza. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
Welcome back. Now it's over to Mike for the 7-day forecast.
Yes, thank you, Jean. Good evening once again. And I'll tell you what, people who own pubs and people who go to pubs and clubs and restaurants are very, very happy. Now open again for business. And let me tell you, the camera crew that I work with also very happy, aren't you? Because we get to check out fabulous fireplaces around Melbourne. And tonight in downtown Richmond, and this is the fabulous Kingston Hotel. It dates back 170 years. Now, before we talk about the weather, a quick reminder also, a fabulous competition continues later in the news. It's your chance to win a year's worth of groceries groceries, it is very, very easy. Just keep an eye out for the code word, and that could be you with a trolley full of groceries. Imagine for a year. Okay, let's have a look at some great photos that have been sent to Mike's Pics at network10.com.au. And this is a little out of the ordinary because first up we have birthday girl Leslie Boundy, today turning 101. Granddaughter Megan asked if I could show this photo on telly because a family who normally would like to see her can't visit her in her aged care home in Croydon because of the COVID restrictions, but now they can still see her, so happy birthday. And this is now Jupiter helping in the garden in Ringwood East. So that's where you've been. Okay, thanks to Dean and Melinda. Jupiter, also a rescue dog. So let's talk about today's weather. A little sunshine at time, but for the most part, it's been a grey old day today. Mild this morning, 11 was the overnight low, but a cool 14-degree maximum meant it was coats and gloves and scarves outside. Inside, it's about 10 degrees out there, but it's about probably 25 degrees with a wine in the fireplace. The humidity at 55% outside, the wind a light southwesterly. Around town, again, rather chilly at Mount Dandenong, a temperature range of 6 to 9 degrees, but no rain in the Dandenong Ranges today. Across our state, June 3 and minimums were also below average, up to 5 degrees warmer than normal. Maximums pretty close on average, except in Gippsland, where it was up to 4 degrees below average. And again, it's been a grey day. Up to 3 millimetres of rain falling today at Mount Wellington. Overnight, up to 15 millimetres of rain falling at Moe. And around this mighty big country of ours up in Brisbane, lovely 22 degrees, but the mornings are cold in southern Queensland. For some, they're coldest in a year. Sydney, where a Lego shop has finally reopened and people are lined up for blocks. 19 degrees, 13 in Canberra, 12 in Hobart. The weather charts, a high pressure system moving our way will bring colder nights and sunnier days with light winds, so add frosts and fogs mainly in the northeast of Victoria too. The rainfall chart, a front in the western bight, will reach us late Friday for showers over the weekend and then colder weather next week. Interstate over to Adelaide tomorrow. It was 16 today, 15 tomorrow, 3 to 14, then a wet day on Friday and Hobart. Brisbane 22 or 23 for the next entire week. Sydney 9 to 17. They've got heavy rain Sunday and Monday. Canberra -2 to 30 in the next 2 days. Across our state, and the day will begin rather chilly, and in the northeast and ranges frosty. And once Jack Frost leaves, it'll be a mainly sunny day. Coolly so, generally light winds, and at night some isolated showers will move in to the southwest coast. A strong wind warning tomorrow for the far east Gippsland coast. Around Melbourne, a bit cooler tonight, single figures all around. Turn that heat up a little bit higher. Geelong 5 to 15, the Yarra Valley 2 to 15 with some fog. And on the bays, light variable winds to 10 knots, waves about a metre. So for our wonderful city by the bay, a chilly start to a good-looking day. Down to 6 before warming up to a sunny 14. Winds will be light, bit of fog about, cold tomorrow night. Enjoy some sunshine if you can. Pop outside during the day. On to Friday, 5 to 14 and mainly sunny. Frosts on the edge of town. Saturday, 7 to 13, cloudy, a couple of showers. Winds will be light. Sunday, 8 to 13 with a shower or two quite likely. Morning fog. And then next week, the nights really cool down. Monday, 4 to 13. Tuesday, 3 to 14. Wednesday, 5 to 15 degrees. But in Melbourne tomorrow, it'll be a cooler start to the day, down to 6, warming up to a sunny 14 degrees. If you can, grab your coat, grab your scarves, grab your gloves, but go outside and enjoy some sunshine.
Tonight's developing stories. Threats of a military crackdown failed to quell protests across the US. The demonstrations across America have sparked a movement here, but it comes with a police warning. The Treasurer's grim outlook, the nation headed for an inevitable recession. We'll cross live for the details. Returning now to our top story. It's been another day of confrontation and anger in the US. In the past few hours, tensions flared again in Washington, D.C. And it seems Donald Trump's threats of a military crackdown may have actually inflamed the situation. Eamon Ashton Atkinson is in the US Capitol. Eamon, what's happening there now?
Well, Jen, it's 4 o'clock in the morning here, so things are fairly quiet. We've been seeing the Secret Service sweeping the area and looking for the flashbangs that they set off just a short time ago after we had some agitators go up to the fence and try and push it down. They were setting off fireworks, and they were met, of course, by the military police on the other side, who were spraying them with pepper spray and then also releasing those flashbangs. And I think it's really indicative of the broader problem that we're seeing right across America. We're seeing seeing thousands of legitimate protesters taking to the streets in the day, but their message is being drowned out by the loud but minority group that are rioting and causing all this damage. And then there's the issue of justice for George Floyd. So tonight we're seeing thousands of Americans being locked up for breaching curfew because they wanted to peacefully protest. But there are 3 people who haven't yet been locked up, and that is the 3 police officers who were on duty when George Floyd died.
The symbol of American power, the heart of its democracy.
Don't shoot!
Tonight, the White House is once again the target of protesters' fury. A new security fence, lines of police and a curfew have done nothing to keep them away.
Because I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my kids' life. I'm fighting for my family. I'm fighting. And I feel like this is worth it. People want to be violent, let them be violent, because we've been experiencing violence for the past 400 years.
It was here yesterday that police cleared a path for the president so he could stand outside a damaged church.
We stand today outraged with President Trump's use of the military against peaceful protesters.
Using tear gas and flash grenades in order to stage a photo op.
Today, Donald Trump staged another one at a shrine to Pope John Paul, appearing to urge the First Lady to smile. But in America tonight, there is little to be happy about.
Gas here, flashbangs.
In Portland, Oregon,
This is a police riot. That is what we are seeing.
police are chasing demonstrators through the streets with tear gas. These are clashes in Milwaukee just in the past few hours. And there are violent standoffs too in Atlanta.
Protester just sent a tear gas canister back towards police, back towards the National Guard.
Overnight in the Bronx, a policeman was run down and injured. And in Missouri, 4 officers were shot, their chief filled with despair.
Thank God they're alive. They're alive. But can we make some sense out of this?
In New York, Democrat politicians are bickering over who is to blame for yesterday's violent looting spree.
The NYPD and the mayor did not do their job last night. You have 38,000 NYPD. Use 38,000 people.
And as America debates the legality of the president's threat to turn the army on its own people, the Pentagon has tonight confirmed an extra 1,600 active soldiers have been flown to the capital and placed on standby. Daniel Sutton for 10 News First.
Minnesota has launched a sweeping civil rights probe into the Minneapolis Police Department, a week after one of its officers killed George Floyd. CBS correspondent Skylar Henry has the latest from where it all began.
Well, the civil rights investigation that the state of Minnesota is opening up against the Minneapolis Police Department is relatively broad. They want to see whether the department has actually used any sort of practices in terms of discrimination in terms of people of color, particularly in the last 10 years. Now, obviously, this is stemming from George Floyd, but they want to see how far this goes, and if there is any issues whatsoever, they want to make sure that they are doing anything in their power to stop it altogether. Now, we've been out here all day. It's been a significantly large crowd that we've seen here, and they want to make sure that they honor George Floyd, that they are doing so peacefully, and that they are showing the love that they have for him as well. Now, we heard from the mother of George Floyd's daughter earlier today. She says that she's absolutely heartbroken about what has happened to him, and she has a message for those listening.
Shiana does not have a father. He will never see her grow up, graduate. He will never walk her down the aisle.
Now, we have been out across the city of Minneapolis throughout the day today. Thousands of protesters have gathered in multiple locations, not just here at the memorial where George Floyd died, but all throughout the city as well. Several different groups of people all wanting to make sure that they pay tribute to a man who has essentially started a movement across the country and, quite frankly, around the world. Back to you.
Skylar Henry reporting there. Well, thousands of people are expected to gather in Melbourne this weekend for a protest mirroring those seen in the US. Jade Keyte joins us live now. Jade, the rally will take place at Parliament House.
Jen, good evening. Yes, it certainly will. And online, more than 15,000 people have responded as attending to the Black Lives Matter protest on Saturday, although Victoria Police expects a much lower number to attend on the day, although they're still expecting 2,000 or 3,000 people to flood the stairs of Parliament House. The rally will be hosted by the Warriors of Aboriginal Resistance. Last night in Sydney, hundreds of people marched through city streets with the same message: stop black deaths in custody, a show of solidarity for George Floyd in Minneapolis and for Indigenous victims right here in Australia. Police have spoken to organisers and say they will have a high presence here on the day. The biggest concern for officers is a possible coronavirus outbreak, but they also fear anti-racist groups may attend with the intention to cause trouble or violence. This is the message police wanted to give to those wanting to interrupt the peaceful protest.
We're not prepared to stand by and see assaults, vandalism and theft occur in our city. And anyone coming in to commit these acts, incite violence or incite hatred, can expect a swift and firm response by your police. We won't tolerate antisocial, criminal or violent behaviour that compromises the safety and rights of others.
Protesters are being urged to adhere to social distancing rules on Saturday, but police stopped short of saying whether they would or would not be handing out any fines. Jen?
OK, thank you very much, Jade. The Federal Treasurer Josh Frydenberg has declared that Australia is in a recession, the first in almost 30 years. New figures out today show the summer bushfires have caused the economy to shrink, but that's nothing compared to what COVID-19 is going to do. Peter Van Onselen joins me now. Peter, Josh Frydenberg joins Paul Keating in a pretty miserable club.
It's not a club that he would like to be, and there's no doubt about that. We are now in a recession. He has confirmed that. The first one in 29 years. It was as Treasurer that Paul Keating presided over the last one in 1991. Australia led the world when it came to going in a longevity period without a recession, but that's all come to an end. Here's a little bit of what the Treasurer had to say today.
This was the economists' version of Armageddon. The impact on the economy has been very severe. The impact in the June quarter will be even more severe. We've climbed this mountain before, we'll climb it again. Thank you.
Now, there's no doubt that we are going to have a second quarter of negative economic growth. The numbers out today were only the first quarter, going back at 0.3%. But the Treasurer confirmed the next round because we know the coronavirus is gutting the economy.
OK, thank you very much, Peter. Port Melbourne packaging plant Amcor is the latest business to have a worker test positive for COVID-19. Natasha Exelby joins us live now. Tash, what happened there?
Jen, the man tested positive on Sunday, and so the factory here was shut down immediately. 8 of his colleagues who he worked in close proximity with have had to go into the mandatory 14 days of quarantine. All on-site workers have been tested for COVID-19. Some are still awaiting their results, but those who have received a negative result were allowed to return to work this afternoon. In the past 24 hours, we've seen 7 new cases of COVID-19, and the Health Minister says our curve is tracking nicely.
This is a demonstration of the system working well, having a business working very closely with a public health team, making sure that their workers can be tested.
Jen, 1,670 people have tested positive to COVID-19 in Victoria since this pandemic began, and of those, just 79 cases are still active.
OK, thanks, Tash. A judge has given a stern lecture to the young men she sentenced for a jail yard stabbing that almost killed drug kingpin Tony Mockbell. Emma O'Sullivan was in court.
The two young prisoners who stabbed Tony Mockbell was sentenced to 10 years with a minimum of 7. They pleaded guilty to intentionally causing serious injury and also to injuring another prisoner who tried to intervene. 21-year-old Tira Bennett and 22-year-old Aldea Tierra at times laughed and smirked as the judge described their violent actions. Using handmade weapons made from a fork and sharpened wire, they ambushed Tony Mockbell inside Barwon Prison last year. She gave them a stern and at times passionate lecture about where a life of crime will lead them.
The only reason you are getting any attention is because it was Tony Mockbell. But at the end of the day, you two young blokes, 2-on-1, mauled and maimed a 53-year-old man.
Tira Bennett, the younger of the prisoners, will be deported to New Zealand when he's released, despite having no ties there. The court also heard that Tony Mockbell has made a remarkable recovery from his extensive injuries.
Emma O'Sullivan there. Well, Stephen's back now and a scary moment for the Dockers today.
Yeah, it was. Jen Cam McCarthy collapsed at training and was rushed to hospital. The latest from Perth next. Harley Bennell now a serious chance of playing for the Demons next week. And they dropped like flies at Port Adelaide today after a brutal training session.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
The latest from the escalating US race riots, which show no signs of slowing down, and how Aussies stack up against other countries when it came to panic buying.
It's Gogglebox, like you've never seen before.
What the is that?
And this time, it's celebrities on the couch.
Oh, that's James Brown.
My James Brown is dead.
Oh.
New Celebrity Gogglebox USA is coming to Thursdays.
New U-Foods large range. Introducing 14 new large meals that are big on protein and big on taste. A size that satisfies. New large meals, now available at youfoods.com.
If dry or flaky skin is causing you frustration and embarrassment, try E45 cream. It soothes and relieves by creating an effective barrier to protect against skin dryness. Feel comfortable in your skin. Switch to E45.
Hester is a super fund that supports people whose work helps others. Their stories inspire us to give them a stronger financial future and a better world to retire into. It's our way of saying thank you.
When life gives you messiness, Godfrey's Stocktake sale gives you cleanliness. Ecovac Steambot 600 robot, $299, save $100. iVac Steam Mop, $59, save $40. Godfrey's Cleanliness.
At Coles, you can win a virtual cooking class with Curtis Stone.
It's fabulous.
And $10,000 worth of Coles gift cards. Plus, each week there's a share of $100,000 worth of Coles gift cards to be won. Just spend $20 in one transaction at Coles, scan your Flybuys card and receive one entry into the prize draw for your chance to win a virtual cooking class with Curtis Stone. Competition ends June 30th. See coles.com.au for details. Coles, good things, great value.
Supporting people with a disability is very close to my heart, and now I'm asking you to help too. This year, Endeavour Foundation is celebrating 69 years of helping people with a disability live their best lives. Help by buying a ticket in their June lottery to win this brand new $1 million prize home on the Sunshine Coast. This fully furnished 4-bed, 3-bath home comes with a beautiful pool, fire pit and $10,000 cashable gold. So buy your ticket at endeavourlotteries.com.au.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, oh, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
When headaches hold you back, try Nurofen Quicksorb. Its advanced formula absorbs quickly, relieving headaches fast. For quick, effective pain relief, choose Nurofen Quicksorb.
Get up to 50% off everything during Bedshed Stocktake sale. Mattresses, bedroom suites, kids' furniture and more. all up to 50% off at Bedshed. That's why no one's better in the bedroom.
As part of Victoria's big build, we're removing level crossings. Buses will replace trains on the Frankston line from the 24th of May to the 26th of July. Find out if you're affected at bigbuild.vic.gov.au. Authorised by Victorian Government, Melbourne.
It's Mystery Box Bingo.
What? Worst ingredients I could think of. It smells a little bit like garbage.
Seriously good.
This was a joy to eat.
MasterChef's Mystery Box Bingo, 7:30 tonight.
Concern tonight for the health of Fremantle docker Cam McCarthy, who collapsed at training. McCarthy was involved in a non-contact exercise when he fell to the ground and was taken to hospital. Before TV cameras were told to leave this morning's session, McCarthy appeared in good spirits and good health during the warm-up. Club medicos monitored the 25-year-old before he was walked to a waiting ambulance.
He was at the back of the line and collapsed. Our medical staff was on the scene really quickly and dealt with it really professionally. He walked to the ambulance, got taken to hospital, and he's still there now recovering. My understanding is that this is the first time something like this has happened to Cam.
McCarthy's pre-season was good enough to see him play in round one, but he's now in doubt for their trip to the Gold Coast, where they will spend a month in a hub for the next 4 games. Hawthorn has thrown its support behind outspoken forward Chad Wingard, who has decided to ban the media until further notice. With the AFL's newest legend keeping a close eye on the Hawks, the club is backing Wingard's right to take a stance.
Regardless of the issue, it probably takes some balls to speak up and stuff like that. So probably in a world where everything gets judged and speech gets judged, I reckon, yeah, it takes some balls and good on him. We're behind him 100%.
Jager O'Meara didn't train, but has still a chance to play against Geelong next week. Harley Bennell continues to turn heads at the Demons. The injury-cruel 27-year-old is training himself into the frame for an early season return.
I think he's sitting outside Goody's door every day, sort of just letting him know that he's right to play. So it's good. We're confident in him, and it's, as I said, really good to have him here.
Young forward Marty Hoare limped from today's session after being stomped on the toe, while Stephen May required some maintenance on his stiff back. Stephen Martin has declared himself fit for the AFL's return, fully recovered from the knee injury he sustained in round one. Having spent the last 10 weeks rehabbing the injury, largely in his home while the players were in lockdown, the likelihood of not missing a game is starting to sink in.
So I said to a few people, I'm going to get the tattoo if I don't miss a game. I'm going to get a little tattoo of it, which I won't because I'm a coward, but it's something fun to say.
Meanwhile, Lions legends Simon Black and Jonathan Brown say they're honoured to become the club's 4th and 5th players inducted into the AFL's Hall of Fame. Port Adelaide will wear its iconic prison bar jumper in next week's showdown. Fans made it clear to the club that not even a global pandemic should stop them celebrating their 150th anniversary.
Running out in the black and white has been given the green light. Club chairman David Koch said the league shutdown did leave them wondering if they should don the prison bars in an empty stadium, but in the end they were swayed by people power.
And the fact that Magpies can't play in the SANFL this year, there was the chance that that famous Guernsey would not be seen this year. Now, that's unthinkable. My view is we should be able to wear it at every showdown.
Players like Riley Bonner can't wait to wear the black and white. However, they have to stay healthy for the next 10 days. The defender landed awkwardly at training but expects to be fine for the next contact session on Saturday. While Bonner was receiving attention for his rolled ankle, Jack Watts was having a dislocated finger pop back into place. And if that wasn't enough, Brad Ebert needed a moment to recover after yet another head knock, but he did rejoin after a short time.
Training becomes extremely urgent now. We've only got probably 3 team training sessions where we're all together, so each of those sessions become critically important.
With preparation limited, Michael Voss expects the skills to be a bit scratchy first up.
I really hope that as an industry we sort of take our eyes off that a little bit and actually just can sit back with a little bit of gratitude and appreciation of the hardship that people have experienced, and we can appreciate the game for what it is. We're back, we're playing footy, we love footy.
Meanwhile, the league has announced from round 2, clubs can organise scratch matches for players not selected in the senior side. Games must be played at an AFL-approved venue and can only be held between teams located in the same state. Brendan Shakes for 10 News First.
And that's it from me, Jen.
Thank you, Stephen. Mike's staying warm tonight, and he's back after the break with a 7-day forecast.
Want to win a year's supply of groceries thanks to Coles? Then grab tonight's code word and head to the 10play win page to enter, and you could be a winner. Plus, be watching MasterChef 7:30 tonight for the bonus code word to double your chances.
The world's most exotic fragrances are made by nature. That's why we've created Botanica Fragrances, infused with natural ingredients that are responsibly sourced. Botanica by Airwick.
What if I get coronavirus?
How do I do my rehab now?
Why is it so hard to get out of bed? COVID-19 is impacting us all differently, which is why we've introduced Medibank COVID-19 Health Assist. With direct access to hundreds of healthcare experts, eligible members can receive health advice and support from their homes at no extra cost. Visit medibank.com.au to see how we're providing better support for our members.
Time's running out to enter the MS Dream Home Lottery. And when you can win a $1.5 million grand prize, tickets are selling fast. Hurry and get yours today.
Do you have heartburn or indigestion? Gaviscon Dual Action relieves them both. It works fast, 2 ways. It neutralises excess stomach acid and it forms a protective barrier to help stop stomach acid from rising. Gaviscon Dual Action.
HelloFresh. Delicious meals delivered to your door with pre-portioned, fresh ingredients. Now you can focus on what's really important. Order your box today. HelloFresh. Inspiration delivered.
At Harvey Norman, get a $948 bonus 12-month Foxtel Premium subscription when you spend $4,000 or more on a 65-inch TV from our new 2020 range. Or get a $1,188 bonus 12 months of Foxtel Platinum Plus when you spend $6,000 or more on a 75-inch TV. Foxtel, everything you need in entertainment, drama, movies and sport live and on demand. Hurry, bonus Foxtel subscription with our 2020 TV range now at Harvey Norman.
Go, Harvey, go! Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's on the play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
Still paying an old home loan interest rate? If your rate's older than January 2019 or starts with a 3, you could be overpaying by thousands. Now's the time to find a better deal. And Lendy is here to help. Our process is 100% digital, so you can settle your home loan online without visiting a bank or broker. At Lendy, our home loan specialists are on hand over the phone, by email or via live chat. Find out if you've been paying too much. Lendy, your home for home loans.
Up next, Aussies blacked out their social media in solidarity, but how helpful was it? And what can we do to be better allies? Charities are drying up as COVID-19 takes its toll just when people need them most. How to keep them afloat, and why Courtney Act is taking pride in her new role on Ramsay Street. Project next.
Welcome back. Now here's Mike with the 7-day forecast.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening once again. As Melbourne starts opening up, very, very happy patrons, happy workers as pubs and restaurants and other eateries open up because we are back in business. And also I'm checking out fabulous fireplaces tonight. We're at the Kingston, a wonderful old pub in Richmond. A couple of great photos now that have been sent to Mike's Picks at network10.com.au. And firstly, Holly Mac70 is a young, budding photographer. And this is just an example of her work. Everything is coming up roses is in Boronia. And from Keith Reynolds, a bit of winter sunshine in his Parkdale backyard. That is lovely and tranquil. 11 degrees was the overnight low, so it wasn't too cold last night, but 14 was a coolish sort of maximum. Outside right now, 10 degrees, the humidity at 55%. Around Melbourne today, temperatures this afternoon slightly below the norm for this time of year. At Mount Dandenong, for example, single figures 6 to 9 degrees. Across our state, and minimums were above average, up to 5 degrees warmer than normal, but maximums were then close on average, except in Gippsland, where it was up to 4 degrees below average. And again, it's been a fairly grey day, up to 3 millimetres of rain falling at Mount Wellington. Today's top temperature, by the way, 16 degrees at Cape Nelson. Around Australia, up in Brisbane, 22 degrees, in Sydney 19. Over in Adelaide, 16 degrees this afternoon, 13 in Canberra, a degree cooler down in Hobart. In Adelaide tomorrow, about 15 degrees. Hobart will get a pretty chilly start to the day, 3 to 14, and it'll be pretty wet on Friday down in Tassie. Brisbane, 22 degrees or 23 the next few days. Sydney, 9 to 17, heavy rain forecast Sunday and Monday, and Canberra below 0 overnight. Across our state, and the day will begin chilly, and in the northeastern ranges it will begin frosty. Fairly sunny day tomorrow, in fact not too bad outside with light winds. At night, some isolated showers moving into the southwest coast. Shepparton, a frosty 1 to 14, Bendigo 2 to 14, and in Ballarat tomorrow 2 to 13 degrees. A strong wind warning tomorrow for the East Gippsland coast. Around Melbourne, yep, turn that heater up just a little bit higher or put another log on the fire, a little bit cooler, single figures all round. Geelong 5 to 15, Frankston 7 to 14, Mount D 5 to 10, in the Yarra Valley 2 to 15. And on the bays, light and variable winds of 10 knots, waves about a metre. So for Melbourne, it will be a chilly start to a pretty nice day, down to 6, warming up to a lovely sunny 14 degrees, a little bit of fog about. Friday 5 to 14 and mainly sunny, frosts on the edge of town with north-westerly winds. Saturday 7 to 13, cloudy, pretty good chance of showers, winds will be light. And then Sunday 8 to 13 with a shower or two, some morning fogs. And then next week 13, 14, 15 degrees. So that is the weather. If your local has a great looking fireplace, let me know. I might come along and have a wine. In the meantime, back to you, Jen.
Looks very nice indeed. Thank you, Mike. That's 10 News First for this Wednesday. For now, from the team, good night.
Tonight, the US race riots show no sign of slowing down.